The Dungannon area paid a heavy price, like much of Ulster, at the Battle of the Somme. The men who had volunteered for king and country had given their all for the cause, and although not specific to the Tyrones, the following statement sums up the feeling towards the division. A Derry man who travelled to France to see his son, a Derry volunteer, severely wounded in the Great Offensive, asked the medical officer if there were any more of the Ulster gentlemen in the hospital. The director's reply is worth giving. "Gentlemen," he said, "there are far more than gentlemen. They are heroes, every one. There is nothing that will make me more proud than to be able to call myself an Ulsterman after what the Ulster Division has achieved." The 36th Ulster Division, the Tyrones, and the men of the Dungannon area were indeed heroes, one and all. The fallen, 1st of July 1916. Rifleman Robert Anderson, 9th Battalion Royal Irish Rifles, was killed in action serving king and country on the first day of the Somme. Robert, prior to the war, worked in Dixon and Company weaving factory in Milltown, Dungannon, and had been the bandmaster of the Dungannon Conservative Flute Band for many years. He had also been deputy master of Dungannon Holdfast LOL 1620. Private Robert Anderson has no known grave and is remembered on the Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel Somme, and the Dungannon Holdfast LOL 1620 Roll of Honour. Private Enoch Bowen, 11th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, Donegal and Fermanagh Volunteers, was born around 1898. The son of John and Elizabeth Bowen, Tamnamore Moy, he grew up in a large family of farming stock. Enoch, prior to the war, had been an active member of the Killyman Company UVF. Private Enoch Bowen died of wounds received during the 1st of July offensive, but it wasn't until August 1916 that his sister, Mrs McMinn Derry Lee Moy, received official intimation of his death. Enoch is buried in Connaught Cemetery, Thiefel, Somme, and is also remembered on the Dungannon War Memorial. Private Robert Carson, 9th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, Tyrone Volunteers, born in Derry Scallop, Moy, around 1896. Robert enlisted in the Moy along with his older brother William. Unfortunately for the family, both would be killed in action on the 1st of July 1916. Private Robert Carson has no known grave, but is remembered on the Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel Somme, and the Moy War Memorial. Private William Carson, 9th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers. Born in Derry Scallop, Moy, around 1896, William enlisted in the Moy in November 1914 along with his younger brother Robert. Prior to the outbreak of hostilities, William was a member of the local UVF company, and both brothers made the supreme sacrifice for king and country, being killed in action on the 1st of July 1916. Private William Carson has no known grave, but is remembered on the Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel, Somme and Moy War Memorial. Private John Cumberland, 9th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, Tyrone Volunteers, was one of 3 brothers serving with the Tyrones. Brothers John and James would be killed in action during the first day of the battle. The son of William John and Mary Cumberland, John grew up with the family at Kilnacart, Derry-Gartrevy, Dungannon. Prior to the war, John was a member of the Derry-Gartrevy Company of the Dungannon Battalion UVF and also belonged to Kilnacart LOL 296. The Mid-Ulster Mail on 12th of August carried the following article regarding the Cumberland family. Mr W.J. Cumberland, Kilnacart, Dungannon, whose 3 sons joined the Tyrone Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, has received on Tuesday official intimation that his 2 sons, John and James Cumberland, are missing. Mrs Cumberland has also received the following letter from Captain T. Robinson of that battalion. I am very sorry indeed to hear that your sons are wounded and missing. Your 3 boys were in my company from the time they joined the 9th Battalion up to a couple of months ago when I was sent home from France. Your boys were a great help to me, and I always found them smart, clean and obedient lads, and everything that soldiers ought to be. I trust that you may soon have good news from the one who is missing, and that the one who has been wounded is not seriously injured, and that you may soon have him home with you for a rest. I had all the Dungannon boys in my company, and during my 24 years army experiences, I never found braver or better lads. Dungannon may well be proud of them. Private John Cumberland has no known grave, but is remembered on Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel Somme and Dungannon War Memorial. Private James Cumberland, 9th Battalion, Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, was one of 3 brothers serving with the Tyrones. James and John are likely to have enlisted together given their consecutive regimental numbers, and like his brother James, was killed in action during the first day of the Battle of the Somme. The Cumberlands were a patriotic family, with not only the 3 sons of William John and Mary Cumberland serving the colours, but they had 6 nephews as well in service. James grew up with the family at Kilnacart, Derrygotrevy, Dungannon, and like his brother was a member of the Derrygotrevy company of the Dungannon Battalion UVF and also Kilnacart LOL 296. Private James Cumberland has no known grave, but is remembered on the Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel Somme and Dungannon War Memorial. Private George Dilworth, 9th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, Tyrone Volunteers, was killed in action on the 1st of July 1916. Born in Killyman, George enlisted at the Moy for service with the Tyrones. Private George Dilworth has no known grave, but is remembered on the Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel Somme and the Dungannon War Memorial. Private George Farr, 9th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, was born in Drumglass, Dungannon, and the family at some point moved to Crossturnock, Dungannon. George enlisted to serve the colours in Dungannon, and like his brother who paid the ultimate price in the South African War some years before, George would do the same on the first day of the Somme offensive. On receipt of intimation that George Farr had been killed in action, his brother Robert, who resided at Tullyliskin Rectory, would enlist with the Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers and would subsequently lose his life in the war also. A further brother James, who lived in New Zealand, served the colours in the Wellington Regiment. Private George Farr has no known grave, but is remembered in the Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel Somme and the Dungannon War Memorial. Private William Gallagher, 9th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, was born in Killyman. William worked to Mr. T.W. Douglas, Culnagore, as a labourer prior to the war, a member of Killyman LOL 33, and was believed to be living in the Moy area when he enlisted in Dungannon for King and Country. Private William Gallagher was killed in action on 1st of July 1916 and is buried in Mill Road Cemetery, Thiefel Somme, and is also remembered on the Dungannon War Memorial. Private Samuel Lamb, 9th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, was born in Dungannon around 1896. The son of Thomas Henry and Jane Lamb, Samuel, by the age of 13, was recorded as working as a mill worker and living with the family at Lisnahull, Dungannon. Samuel Lamb enlisted in Dungannon and he would serve in the Tyrones along with his brother David. Despite being reported as wounded and in hospital, Samuel Lamb was killed in action during the great charge made by the Tyrones on the 1st of July 1916, a charge which saw his brother David wounded and hospitalised to England. Private Samuel Lamb has no known grave, but is remembered on the Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel Somme, Holdfast LOL 1620 Dungannon's Roll of Honour and the Dungannon War Memorial. Lance Corporal William McMenemy, 9th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, was born in Dungannon around 1885. Prior to the war, William lived with wife in Henry Street, Dungannon, worked in the employment of Stevison & Co Limited and played a major role in B Company Dungannon UVF as a drill instructor. He had previous military experience with Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, being a time-expired soldier, and enlisted to serve King and Country again at Bundoran, County Donegal. Initially, William had been reported wounded along with J. McVeigh Caledon, J. O'Neill Caledon, but in a letter from Colonel Ricardo to his wife that was reported in the Tyrone Courier on the 31st of August 1916, he said, "Lance Corporal William McMenemy, Tyrone Volunteers, who had previously been reported wounded and missing, cannot be traced after every possible inquiry, and it is feared he fell on the 1st of July, and offering the sympathy of all the ranks of the battalion in their sorrow. Lance Corporal William McMenemy has no known grave but is remembered on the Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel Somme, Holdfast LOL 1620 Dungannon Roll of Honour and the Dungannon War Memorial. Private William James Orr, 9th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, was born around 1896 in Killyman. Brought up for a period of time at Belfast, the family returned to Ballinacally area to reside. William worked in John Stevenson's and Co. Killeen prior to volunteering and had also been an active member of the Ballinacally UVF before he enlisted for King and Country in Omagh. Killed in action on the 1st of July 1916, Private William James Orr has no known grave but is remembered on the Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel Somme and the Dungannon War Memorial. Lance Corporal Samuel Smith, 9th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, was born in Scotland around 1895. The family subsequently moved to Derrycreevy, Benburb, and it was here that Samuel would grow up. A member of the Benburb Company UVF, Samuel would enlist to serve the colours when the call to the volunteers came. He enlisted in Dungannon and lost his life on the 1st of July 1916. Lance Corporal Samuel Smith has no known grave but is remembered on the Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel Somme. Private James Stewart, 9th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, was born at Tullyliskin around 1876. Prior to the war he had worked at Derryvale Linen and Finishing Works. He was married with 2 sons and living at Farlock. James had held the office of Secretary of New Mills LOL 183 and Worshipful Master of Bush RBP No. 4 and was also an inspector for the East Tyrone Unionist Association. An active member of the New Mills Company UVF, he would on the outbreak of war enlist to the Tyrones in Dungannon. Private James Stewart played a fife in the band of the 9th Inniskillings, and it was a huge honour for New Mills LOL 183 to have his fife presented to the Lodge in January 2015. Private James Stewart lost his life on the first day of the Somme offensive and has no known grave, but is remembered on the Thiefel Memorial, Thiefel Somme. He is also remembered on New Mills Parish Church Roll of Honour, New Mills LOL 183 Roll of Honour and the Dungannon War Memorial. Private William Stratton, 11th Battalion Royal Inniskilling Fusiliers, Donegal and Fermanagh Volunteers, was killed in action on the 1st of July 1916. Born in Killyman, William enlisted in Belfast and is buried in Connaught Cemetery, Thiefel, Somme.